Good morning, students of class 9. You are welcome back to the classes now. We are doing economics now. We are on the chapter 2, people as resource, and today's date is 22nd of May 2021. So now here first we will talk about the overview of the chapter, what this chapter actually wants to tell us. So now here, people as a resource. Number one, there are altogether 7 points I've written over here. So we'll go through one by one and listen carefully and try to follow, try to understand. This chapter, the second chapter, people as resource, is an effort. It tries to tell us or explain us. It is an effort to explain population is an asset for the economy. Population is an asset for the economy rather than a liability. What is the meaning of liability? It's very easy to understand. In a family, suppose in a family, if the children are educated and they do various kind of work and earn money, so these people, these family members who are productive, who bring income in the family, they are productive, they are an asset to the family. Suppose if the children are uneducated, they have no work, unemployed, and it's a liability to the family because the family have to provide everything to them. So in this way, so this people as resource is this chapter is trying to explain us that population is an asset rather than a liability. How come? So let's look at number 2. The population becomes human capital or human resource when there is investment made in the form of education, training, skill development programs and medical care. So the parents, they invest money in this way to form their children as human capital or human resource. So when the population gets education, skill development programs, or if they get training and medical care, naturally later on in future they will become very productive. They will produce goods, services, and it will add income to the country, or it will increase the country's economy. So in this way, population becomes human capital when there is investment made in the form of education or training and medical care. So you can think about this also. Why your parents are sending you to school for good education? Why? What is the reason behind? Your parents want you to lead a better life later on. So number 3, human capital is the stock of skilled and productive knowledge embodied in them. Embodied means possessed, having in them. They have the knowledge, they have education, they have training. Naturally, they will do something or the other, and they will produce goods or services. So it is a kind of capital or capital for the country. So it is a stock of skilled and productive educated people, having good health, having knowledge, having training. So that forms the human capital. Now we will have number 4, people as resource. People as resource contribute to the creation of gross national product, that is GDP. It will help to increase the GDP of the country, gross national product. So people as resource will definitely contribute something to the country by producing goods and services in the country. So now like other resources, we have already learnt in chapter 1 about land resource, physical capital, and labor. So we have various resources we have learnt already about in chapter 1. So like other resources, trained and educated population, those who are educated, those who are trained, these kind of population is also a resource. That's called human resource. That also we have learned in chapter 1, human resource. So, and it is the most important form of resource, because human resource use other resources to manufacture, to produce goods and services. Other resources like land, capital, physical capital, they themselves do not produce anything. That's why human capital or human resource is very, very important. This is the positive side of a large population. This is the positive side of a large population. A country having a large population. Most of the people around the world, they think that having a large population is the country will face a lot of problem providing food, shelter, medical facilities, and a lot of things. It's a very big problem. That's why the country is poor. They think in this way, in a negative way. But you always look at the positive side. If these large population are provided good education, training, a lot of facilities are given to them, such as medical care, good environment, so naturally those large population becomes an asset to the country. So you can see that this is the positive. Like other resources, trained and educated population is also a resource that we have learned. This is the positive side of a large population that is often overlooked, that is often ignored, overlooked, when we look at only the negative side, considering only the problems of providing food, shelter, and education, everything to them. So most of the people look at the negative side only, because large population, having a large population means there will be a lot of problem to provide food, shelter, education, infrastructure, good health, good environment. That is the negative side. Look at the positive side. If these large population are provided good education, naturally it will add, it will increase the economy of our country. It will add some income to the country. So that is always the positive side of a large population. But when the existing human resource, that large population, look at the positive side, not the negative side always. When we look at the negative side, we ignore this positive side. But when this existing means remaining, that large population, human resource is further developed when they are provided good education and training, skill development programs, if they are provided by becoming more educated and healthy, provide good health, medical facilities, providing medical facilities to them, and they become very healthy. We call it human capital formation. That is, we call it human capital formation. That's why your parents are sending you to school, so that you gain knowledge, so that later on you can stand on your own feet. You do not have to depend on others. When you depend on others, you will become a liability. So that is human capital formation. That is called human capital formation. When a large population is provided education, medical care, and further training and skill development, so that adds to the productive power of the country. That will add productive power to the country as well as to the family. So they will lead a good and happy life. So similarly, the country will prosper if the people are educated, well trained, skilled people. Naturally the country will develop very fast. The economy will grow very, very fast. So because these people have the productive power, and it will add to the GDP, their work and their products, goods and services will add to the GDP as well as the national income. So in this way the country will develop faster. So you can see that people as a resource. So important is, in the next chapter we'll talk about investment in capital formation. What type of investment people they do, what type of investment they do or they perform. So we'll talk about in our next class about the investment in human capital. So this was for today. So we'll meet in the next class and continue this investment in human capital. So right now we have 7 points. I think you have understood what I told you. So you go through this point as well as you go through the book. Reading is also very important. Don't just go through the online classes only. You need to read because you are quite weak in reading. So reading is must. Reading, writing and understanding all should go together. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you very much.